Hello, welcome back. I'm April. If you are a business leader, a sales professional, maybe you're an influencer or a celebrity, do you have a reoccurring problem? Maybe in your revenue in your business, you keep hitting a ceiling, you can't seem to go beyond it to the next level, or you make a lot of money and then you constantly are losing a lot of money. Or maybe there's a reoccurring problem in your relationships or in your marriage or with your children. Your own child acts like they can't stand you and they're mean spirited towards you. If any of that resonates, what I'm about to share with you, I believe can be very insightful because I had all of those things happen. And it wasn't until I started to do my inner work that I actually had a breakthrough around every one of those areas. And it had to do with I had a problem and a fear of intimacy. A fear of intimacy comes from a fear of judgment, a fear of being rejected. So I'm going to break down what this is. I encourage you to watch this all the way to the end. And if it's helpful, I hope that you'll like this video and comment below so that more people can see this. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in. Around 2021, I was in a mess. Owned a business, a consulting business, and I was hitting a plateau. I kept earning the same revenue year after year, struggling. What I had been doing was no longer working. I was trying a lot of different things. I invested tens of thousands of dollars in consultants and high ticket programs to looking for a magic marketing bullet, something outside me to fix this problem so that I could grow to the next level. I also had problems in my marriage. My marriage was hanging by a thread. We were even brought up discussing like separating. And to make matters worse, my 9-year-old daughter, my husband and I's daughter was 9 at the time. She acted like she absolutely couldn't stand me, like she hated me. She was mean spirited and wouldn't even hug me. It was so bad. All of it led up to it was so bad. Something had to change. So I quit everything. I shut down, finished working with my one-on-one clients, consulting clients. I shut down my group coaching programs because I was so busy doing all the things that I couldn't even get still to even pray and ask God for direction. I did a 100-day trusting God experiment, and it changed my life. I also went to counseling, which was very revealing. So here's what I discovered after all of that. I discovered that the root cause of all three of those problems in my marriage, broken relationship with my daughter, and hitting a revenue plateau in my business year after year, it all boiled down to a fear of intimacy. A fear of intimacy is really about a fear of rejection. So when we have wounding experiences in our childhood, early in our life, it can cause us to start to build walls or build up barriers of protection around us so that we don't let people in to get too close to us as a safety mechanism to avoid rejection, to avoid judgment, to avoid criticism, to try to keep us safe. But instead of keeping us safe, we actually keep people away from us and we don't even know it because it's subconscious. It erodes trust in business where intimacy and vulnerability is absolutely necessary to build trust with your ideal clients, your potential clients. It's the speed of trust. And without trust, there is no sale. It slows down the sales cycle and causes people to sit on the fence because intuitively it's something that people feel that they can't verbalize. They can't put their finger on it, but they just go, well, it sounds good, but I think I'm just going to hold off for right now and wait. That was going on for me. So I want to share with you, Dr. Bill Cloak is the author of a book called Happiness Together, Creating a Lifetime of Connection, Commitment, and Intimacy. He spoke and described a lot of what the 5 levels of intimacy are. But there's a lot of articles on like Psychology Today, other psychologists, other counselors, people that are therapists that have written about these same 5 levels of intimacy. So instead of me trying to search for an external magic marketing bullet, yet another one to try to fix my revenue problem, if you have a feast or famine cash flow problem cycle in your business, that's a sign that you got to do some inner work. If you've got your child acting like they hate you, sign you got some inner work. If your marriage is hanging by a thread, it's a sign that you've got some inner work to do. I didn't try to change my husband or my child. I wasn't trying to fix them or make them go to counseling. Instead, I worked on myself. I changed how I was showing up. I started to slowly, bravely let my walls down and let them in to see more of who I am and soften my communication style. And when in business, I started to let my walls down and let my potential clients and people in my industry see more of me, my truest, most authentic self. When I started to do that, that created a level of intimacy and a deeper connection. And it just, everything just changed. It just transformed. Matter of fact, I even made a decision to close my consulting business after 10 years. And I stepped into the next chapter of my life. I'm currently looking for my next opportunity where I'm going to use my gifts and skills at an organization somewhere. Um, but it was, and this is the exact right path I'm supposed to be on. All right. All right. So let me share with you the 5 levels of intimacy. You can get that book for yourself. I'll drop the link below, or you can Google it, right, and find in the 5 levels of intimacy. The first level of intimacy, okay, if you're trying to avoid rejection, judgment, or criticism, this is the most casual conversations. It's basic information and there's no risk at all. That's where you talk to people about the weather. That's where you just kind of talk about, what's going on in life that is just very surface level. You talk about your favorite sports team. You don't say much about it. You just go, hey, they did a good job. Those Colts, they won again, got in the playoffs. That's amazing. But it's really, there's no intimacy there. It's just surface level. Level number 2, that's where you start to talk about common interests. Here you talk about your bond over hobbies and interests and even activities. But it's deeper than that. There's a little bit more. That's where you start to maybe even talk about other people's opinions and other people's beliefs, because you're not telling them your opinions and beliefs. You're talking about somebody else's. Like, hey, did you hear what so and so had to say about the election? What you're doing is you're actually fishing to see how somebody will react to it before you tell them what your opinion is. It's a safety mechanism to try to keep yourself safe or avoid rejection or judgment or criticism. And it's surface. It's another level, but it's still surface level. There's not much intimacy there. The third level of intimacy is where you start to share your own personal opinions and your own beliefs. This is where you start bravely just starting to show up as more of your authentic self. You have a deeper discussion occur at this level, so you start to share your beliefs and opinions of things, and you listen in for people's responses. But guess what? You can still change your belief and opinion. If you share your opinion and somebody rejects it or criticizes, or you can tell they don't like it, you can say, well, yeah, I used to believe that, but I'm starting to kind of change my thoughts on that. I get what you're saying. So you see how you're still playing it safe, because you're just kind of testing the waters when you share your opinions, because you can still change your opinion or belief in a conversation or on social media or in a business setting. The fourth level of intimacy is where you start to open up and share your dreams and your aspirations. You share your hopes and your dreams and your goals for the future with other people. You're sharing your opinions and beliefs, and you're sharing your experiences and your feelings. When you share your experiences, you can't change that. It's happened and it's out there when you say it. So somebody might judge it, somebody might reject it or criticize it, but it's already out there in the open. Um, and that is a little bit closer level of intimacy for letting people in to see more of your authentic self. Then it can be vulnerable when you share people your vision or your hopes, what your aspirations are, right? Because they could be negative about it. That doesn't mean that you don't share it. All right, number 5, this is the absolute deepest level. It's an emotional intimacy. This is the deepest level of intimacy you can have with anyone, employees, clients, customers, friendships, relationships, like with a spouse or a partner, even with your children. This is where you share your vulnerabilities. You share your deepest fears. You share your deepest emotions. You share your flaws. You share your failures. You share, and most importantly, how it made you feel. And you also ask for what you want and need. That is the deepest level of intimacy and human connection. And it builds a strong bond with people. Um, when you do that, that's when that restores and cultivates close, intimate relationships, and that builds trust and likability, and it builds an authentic connection and intimacy. And when you do that, without trust, there is no sale. So if you're doing this in a business setting, if you sell your products or services, if you're speaking on stage or whatever you're doing, all of a sudden you build a connection and people, they just want to be magnetically drawn to you and they care. And it can't be something that you're just slapping on as a marketing tactic. It's got to be real and genuine. And your business will take off. More people will get off the fence and buy because there's a connection made. Now, your sales team, when you're vulnerable as a leader, now there's a way to do this the wrong way that you're oversharing, and that's not appropriate. It's not professional, but there is a better way to do this that is appropriate in your communication with them. Even with you having like I say, somebody on your sales team that consistently is just not hitting their sales goals. There's a way conversation that you can have where you're open and vulnerable and you share your vision that you have, that you hold for them, for their greatness, and you bring their greatness out of them. That's for a whole nother video, but um so I went from all of that, I got to that 4 and 5 level of intimacy with my husband. My marriage went from being a level 2 on the verge of separation to now we're up to about a level 7.5 or 8. We're still working on it. I mean, we are just in a whole different place today in 2024 than we were 2021 in January. Completely. We feel so close, loving, connection, spending time with each other, hugging, like, and it's sincere and genuine. My daughter, she used to reject me, act like she hated me. I changed how I showed up, how I was being around her. I started opening up with these levels of intimacy that cracked her wide open. I shared how I felt, and she started to open up. She's been hugging me, kissing me on the cheek. There's been several times where she said, "Hey, mom, do you want to come hang out with me while I organize my new jewelry box?" And I said, "Yeah, I'd love to. Can't wait to see it." And we just spent one-on-one time together. She's completely We still have growth there, but it's like night and day the way it was before. And then in my own business, I started on my social media posts. I would get no comments or no comments, no hardly no likes, to getting like 10 times more likes and comments and shares on my posts because I was more open and intimate. And it took courage because I had to open myself up to be vulnerable, to let people to see my most authentic self, to see my fears, my greatest fears, my flaws, my failures, and how it made me feel, and what I really wanted, and my dream and aspirations, and my hope for what I'm really here to do. And it created this bond. And I just want to encourage you today that it is so important to make a decision to not try to just put a band-aid on a problem in your life, your business, your relationships, your marriage, or your health, or whatever, but we've got to heal it and solve it at the root cause, which is internal. When we change internally, that's when the external changes. you can break through that ceiling. You can break through that revenue ceiling. You can get those employees on board and everybody's on the same page and making their sales goals and the business is growing. You can fix that marriage. You can fix that relationship with that child. All of that's possible because I lived it. I know. So I just thank you for watching this. I hope it was helpful. I don't have anything for sale, at this time, but I would love to connect with you deeper. Please like, comment, and share this if it was helpful, so I can help more people get the word out. And you can go to www.aprilyvette.com, aprilyvette.com. Subscribe to my advice column, and I cannot wait to chat again soon. Bye.